Well, hello everyone, I am Bob.
I'm Carrie.
And today, Carrie, we're waking up to a great day in Brattleboro, Vermont. And we are here at Fort Dummer State Park and Campground. And we're going to show you a kind of a unique thing. A little bit of loud traffic off of I-91 today as everybody's coming up for the off-season to take in what's left of the vibrant colors of the leaves. But we're going to show you a little bit of a rare look at Fort Dummer off-season.
Yep.
And show you what makes this little state park great for primitive camping here in the Brattleboro, Guilford, Vermont area. So stick around, we'll show you that, and maybe a couple of things that you probably didn't want to see. Let's do it.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Okay,
Bikes.
we should have brought our bikes. This would have been a perfect place to bring our rattan e-bikes. So if you guys are new to the channel, what Carrie and I are doing is we are in the process of eliminating everything that we own, and we are going to be basically homeless and traveling with our RV full-time. If you are interested in that kind of content, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you can find out when the latest chaos is happening in our lives. But in the most of the time, what we like to do is we like to travel the country and find different forms of camping, campgrounds, sites, things of that nature. And we like to report them and share them here as a way to not only show our children that we're more than mom and dad, but we're also human. See, kids, we're humans, and we like to do things besides just wait on our children. So our children, of course, are all grown now, and they have left. It's not like we're leaving teenagers home at, you know, just waiting for us to come back, mom and dad, mom and dad. So Fort Dummer here in Guilford / Brattleboro, and I say that slash because you're right before exit 1 in Brattleboro, so you'll take that exit to come over here. It's someplace we've been here a few years ago.
Yep.
And again, it's very primitive camping. But it's a pretty cool little park too, because it is in essence everything that you think of with Vermont camping.
We're gonna hang a left over here. Isn't that where the little...
There's like a little watering hole here, but I think it might be up a little further.
Okay, never mind.
So as we catch our bearings, we'll check back with you. Okay, so it looks like we found our little path. You can see here in late October, most of the leaves have all fallen off the trees. So as we swing back to Carrie, just be careful. We don't want you falling, because
Or you.
if she falls, I got no one to take care of me. And that's not a good thing. So one of the coolest little things about this is this area here. When you think of Vermont camping, this is it. Very primitive, but the scenery notched right out. It is a little creepy, but you come down here and it's just a little, I think over the years it's probably receded a little bit as far as the water level goes. But wow, you look at this, still a pretty cool little site here. But really what makes this area nice is the actual campsites. So we're going to show you up there next. Now, as we walk this road ahead, I'm not going to go into the historic significance of Fort Dummer in order to keep the video moving, but I will link in the video description below to their website so you can find out all the really cool history behind Fort Dummer. But this road here is normally something that you would be driving in. But again, this campground runs primarily May through September. So the end of October and being down here is kind of like a special little treat to be able to see this with no stuff here. But this is a nice little parking area, and they also have picnic tables. And this is a pretty steep hill.
Yeah.
So again, you have a couple of picnic tables here, and just the other side of that tree line is Route 91, and Well, Route 91 is pretty loud. You don't hear a whole lot of it here. But we're gonna head up this hill because whether or not it picks up.
It doesn't look steep.
Doesn't look steep
But she's some
on camera, but wow. So normally we'll head up the other end of this.
I'll see you in a minute.
And we'll check back in with the actual site tour. Wow, that hill is no joke. Either that or we're that old. Something we noticed that was new here from the last time we had been here, which was probably quite a few years ago, is they have what looks to be a great dump station. And you notice they have potable water for drinking. And look at this, folks. And the reason why this is such a big deal is a lot of the state parks in Vermont don't have anything like this. So you have your non-potable water, and look at this dump station right here. So that's actually pretty cool, you know, when you look at that. And I'd say it's only probably about a couple of years old. As somebody, us here who live in this area, that's actually a pretty big deal to have that, because we've reviewed Hapgood Pond and a few others. You can check those out in the playlist of state parks here in Vermont. And I don't recall really too many having them. So that's pretty good. So once you get past that, there's more hills.
Yay!
If you're into hiking, this area has a tremendous amount of hiking to offer.
If you hate your body, it's great.
If you're older like us, you just want to come up here for the punishment, that's good as well. But there's hiking trails. And we'll start right here, because site 1 is right here. Well, this is what you trade off. So, you know, obviously you're not going to be driving in, walking in, you're going to be driving in. But look at this. The site's here, and again, this is site 1. The site is rather big. You have a little bit of a drop here, but fairly level once you get situated in the center. And again, this is for, you know, closing. But you guys, the idea, you have a fire pit, a picnic table, and really a really good sized campsite. And again, this is just site 1. So, you know, not too bad at all. Yeah, a few tree roots, but really, I'll tell you,
Pretty level once you get in there.
when Carrie and I were last here, we were still using our pop-up camper. And of course, never really gave this campground much thought, because it's really, you know, 6-7 minutes from our house. So when we go, we want to go take it off. But wow, this is great. Like, it's primitive camping, so there's going to be no water. They do have common areas that have water, but no water hookups. But again, you can fill your tanks up at the dump station.
Yep.
And you know, as far as the rest of it goes, wow, you can have some really good camping. This is site 2. I'm not going to walk down each site, but you get an idea. Site 2 is even bigger than site 1. So you have that, and then site 3, and so on and so forth. It's really,
Gosh, that one, if you're not careful, you're right on the ledge.
this one here, yeah, that one has, this one has a pretty good drop off on the other side. But I mean, it's still, for the most part, whether you have a small camper or you have a Class C, maybe even a Class A on some of these, you could still get in, which is pretty nice. Sites 4 and 5 here look like they could be almost buddy sites, which is good size. And it looks like they have a little pathway in between, or at least you're very close to your neighbor here. You know, that's the one thing I'll say. Vermont state parks, for as far as I know, are all primitive. I don't think there's electricity in the state parks up on any of them. But what they offer for camping is amazing. And it is truly camping. Now what Carrie and I do primarily is we travel now the older we get. So we're not looking to rough it necessarily. but sometimes you just want that one-to-one with nature. Campgrounds like this, you know, it's a nice thing to have. And you have here, you have your bathhouses, which obviously are closed for the season. So, you know, very nice, nicely done. We're gonna keep walking here because they do have what they call lean-to sites, which we see a lot of that up here in Vermont. And they're also a nice thing to have too. Whereas if you want to have, I don't know, a tent, when the weather starts to turn, you can jump on the lean-to. And this one here is called the Elm Lean-to. This is handicapped accessible. So if you have, you know, somebody in your party that has a disability and needs special assistance here, they have these sites that are perfect for this. And back when I was younger, I don't remember seeing this. And I think this might be one of the exceptions to, look at this. Now, something I don't normally talk about in any of our videos is I had a brother who had muscular dystrophy, and he enjoyed the outdoors back when we were kids growing up in Rhode Island, but they didn't have things like this. Again, this is back in the 80s and 90s where, you know, not so much of that attention was paid. But look at this, you do have 30 amp service, which is great if you need to, you know, again, you have special needs and you need to charge things and stuff like that. That's a great resource to have, and something that I think is uniquely Vermont from the standpoint of taking care of things so that no matter where your situation in life, Vermont is a place that you can camp and stuff like that. And again, it's not something I normally talk about, but Jason would have really liked that, to, you know, be able to connect with nature and do your thing and still, you know, be able to function, but at the same time be able to charge his wheelchair and stuff like that would have been really cool. So not sure what made me think of that right off the bat, but nonetheless it did. So this here is the loop. This continues down. This is site 23 that we just passed. And as you can see, this isn't going to be a campground that's going to have a pool. No. There's no water features here. This is a Vermont campground to reconnect with nature. This is probably not the best way I can put it. But you are 5 minutes away from downtown Brattleboro. Yeah. All your grocery stores.
Northfield, Mass.
Northfield, Mass. You're also right off the border of Hinsdale, New Hampshire, which, you know, there's a Walmart for supplies, there's a Tractor Supply. It's not a hugely happening area, but it does have the basics, you know, your basic stores, basic amenities that you can get and do that kind of thing. And if you love fireworks, boy, you can buy them all right over the border. And you're right on the Connecticut River, so that if you do want to bring your boat, and it's only a quick little 5-minute jaunt over the bridge, some great fishing on the Connecticut River as well.
Go over here.
You have site 21 to Carrie's right, and this is site 20.
It looked like there was a view over here of what, I don't know.
Might be some fields over here, but look at this.
It almost looked like it was a...
This is like just one of those, like, you know, and I keep saying no frills like it's a bad thing, but this is great. There's been a lot of times, and I almost feel bad that we never utilize this. I swear, the last time that Carrie and I were here, we really saw it as a place that had a few lean-tos and maybe some tent camping. Never would have thought of this place for RV camping. No. Which is great. Now, you know, the downside is you're not going to get your satellite TV because the tree coverage is pretty thick. You're not going to get probably the greatest cell phone reception here. And I'm thinking Starlink isn't going to make it past the trees. Well, but what do we have on the Verizon?
2.5 bars LTE.
So yeah, so maybe on Verizon not bad. T-Mobile, we tend to be about the same as Verizon through this area for our hot spots and stuff like that. So yeah, so you might be able to get a little bit of work done. So that's not too bad. But yeah, if you're definitely in the area, check out Grafton Village Cheese Company. Carrie and I have been there a few times. Some of the best cheese in the area. And there's quite a bit to do in Brattleboro and the surrounding area. There's Mount Wantasket if you want to do some hiking, which gives great views over Brattleboro, Vermont.
There's Kringle Candle.
Kringle Candle, which is right down in Greenfield, or is that Greenfield, Burniston?
Yeah,
A little bit south, maybe 20 miles. Yeah, there's an awful lot to do, especially if you're into the arts and stuff like that. This area has a lot to offer as far as that. Now, the caveats. Brattleboro's congested. Their traffic system is horrendous.
There's always a train.
There's always a train. Depending on when you're watching this video, if it's in the future, in 2022, there's 2 bridges that they're going to be bypassing with a new bridge. That should alleviate some of that. But for the most part, small town, a lot of traffic. Very bad traffic system, but that's just people who've lived here for 17 years.
What do they call it here? The locals call it what? Malfunction Junction.
Malfunction Junction.
Yes.
Now that being said, I will say it has probably one of the best co-ops in the area. Brattleboro Food Co-op is an amazing co-op.
Their rice pilaf, the almond rice pilaf.
Some of their, wow, and we don't shop co-ops too often because sometimes they get a little pricey. But I will say their prepared foods department down there is absolutely amazing. So something where, yeah, you want to check that out. But yeah, we're just going to walk through here, and if there's anything else, we'll pop back in and we'll show you. And then normally we give our, thumbs up, thumbs down on the campground.
But I don't know.
We really don't have anything to say badly about this area. This has been great.
It's a great place to come and just decompress.
Absolutely. If you need to, especially if you're like Carrie and I and you're older, no kids, and I mean, not that this place couldn't handle children, but
no, but even if you're just coming in for a picnic and just walking around, I mean, not even so much, you don't even have to stay.
This is great.
But it's quiet.
Yeah, and they have so they do have, looks like here's a camp host or camp volunteer. So they do have power on their site. But wow, this is, again, the only downside is they're open only May through September. But at the same time, outside of that season, would you really want to camp in Vermont? It starts to get a little cold in the October, November, and then forget about it from December. Forget about it. But yeah, but we'll show you a few more. All right, you have site 7. Again, these are really big sites for the area. Now, if you're looking for something, you're like, hey, Bob, Carrie, this is great, but I need something where I can take my kayak out. About 45 minutes from here, Greenfield State Park in New Hampshire.
It's beautiful.
We've done a couple of videos from there that we highly recommend. North, about an hour, is Hapgood Pond, which is a smaller campground, kind of like this, but with a small pond. And there's a couple others that we've done in Vermont this season.
It says at Hapgood that you can fish. Don't bother.
Yeah, if you're going to Hapgood for fishing,
fish.
there's no fish. But other than that, Greenfield, there's plenty of fishing. Yeah. And it's a big pond there or I don't want to say a lake, but it's pretty good size for kayaking and fishing. But wow, just to get away, dare I say, this is probably one of the cleanest state parks I've seen in Vermont. And granted, it's off season, but they've done a great job. And that's the end of this loop here. For those of you keeping track, that was where we started, is site 1. But yeah, I got nothing else to add here. So on that note,
it's beautiful, it's quiet, it's Vermont.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll leave a link in the video description so you can check out rates and stuff like that. I don't think it's that much, probably about $25 a night. It's about the average for Vermont. And again, you have more trails over here for hiking. But yeah, from Fort Dummer in Guilford / Brattleboro, Vermont, I'm Bob.
I'm Carrie.
And this has been 25 Plus Life. We'll catch you next time.
feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still